Hello friends, welcome to the stream where we listen to Poland crash out of the World Cup.
I tell you, crash out of the World Cup. Absolutely. And we're going to talk about, obviously...
Actually, no.
We're an attacking force.
All we're going to do, I'm going to mute that because that's Ali McCoist. And I'm not subjecting anyone else to Ali McCoist than is strictly necessary. So let us... I'm just preparing this about 5 minutes ago until the start of the stream. And that's when I go live and yada yada yada. You guys know how it works now. This is season 2 of like the 8th episode or the 8th session of season 2, I think. Actually, I do want to listen to what's going on while I'm not focused on the window, so I'm afraid everyone will have to listen to Ali McCoist. I don't mind Ali McCoist, but I don't rate him as a commentator.
Failed to clear the first hurdle at the World Cup.
I imagine he'd say the same about me.
Piszczek, Lewandowski.
That little play, kind of some bit of play summed up for me. Lewandowski took the ball there, John, and he had 7 Polish players ahead of him.
Rodriguez. And James still at it. Great players make the game look easy.
We're getting all the tricks now, aren't we?
I've just realised I haven't even started up EUIV. Hold on.
Baka.
That'd have been a bit awkward. I've got the intro video ready to go. I've got various things ready to go. And then suddenly, oh, we don't actually have a game.
Poles just want to hear the final whistle now, John.
James Rodriguez. Olays at every completed pass.
Ref, just blow the whistle. Come on now.
Colombia have done their bit and some. Poland are out of the World Cup. Goals from Mina, Falcao and Cuadrado. Colombia floating towards a showdown with Senegal. They were a treat tonight. Full time in Kazan. Poland 0, Colombia 3.
That's quite enough of that. Let's get some proper background music on. Imagine if I wasn't actually doing a stream this week, and I just told everyone to tune in just to play a MIDI version of Free Lions with Harry Kane superimposed over It's Coming Home in the deep urban background of a lovely pink sunset. Previews means we'll just go as soon as I'm ready-ish. Sometimes I try and, you know, write a little bit of an intro just to help me ease into commentary, and I've got the date wrong for a start. I'm noticing now. Oh, let me just double check what wars we have, because we don't have many major. Well, we have a few like country wars, but like nothing massive. By the way, Chagoris have like 4 colonial nations. It's crazy. Is that Nicholsonia getting involved in that? Oh, why? Right, this'll have to do. How do I even do this? I'm surprised at how well last week went, because now I'm actually thinking about what I'm doing, I've got no idea. Right, gonna mute my mic, pause the music, get the music I actually want ready for, you know, a second, actually mute my mic, and then switch the intro video, edit. Yeah, perfect, I know what I'm doing. What? Does the game want to work? Hopefully. Anyway. Hello. I've lost everything. It's all gone to hell. Hold on a minute. Let's get some music on. Good evening, everyone. Now that I've actually planned out what I'm going to say, I can't actually say anything without that plan, and then I lost that plan. It's a disaster, is what I'm saying. An absolute disaster. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to 1694. You can't tell it's 1694 because I've just gotten rid of the date. I'm not actually sure if it's 1694. But at this time of coming enlightenment, or rather the enlightenment coming in 6 years in 1700s, as it is the next and indeed the last institution, we have constitutional republics in the east led by presidents. We have literal dictatorships of the proletariat in the west. Some dynasties have been erased, some diminished, some thriving. I know we've lost the Irwins over in Australia Major along with most of their land. I know famously the Revanches in charge of Hispania, in charge of Gorovdesh. In charge, however temporarily, of Rhine-Neckar. So we're well set for the last 100 and a bit years of this campaign. I'll be honest, we're going to look at the score. Just open by looking at the score. And it's not looking great, is it? Hispania already miles ahead. Their closest competitor brought down by wars. Their merchant republic just finally giving out in the late 17th century. Nobody looks like they can really catch Hispania. But there are various things that could bring Hispania down. They could lose Gorovdesh. They could lose their colonies. They may have awakened the sleeping giant in Slavers Bay by colonizing down to them. And if we have a look at what Slavers Bay wants, even the diplomat Maharaja Kanapa Seku, he wants a little bit of Hispania. But as is our custom, just before we get kicked off, give me a second so I can actually try and find all my windows I need to actually help me stream. And we'll have a quick recap of the wars ongoing right now. As always, if there's any particular area of the map you want me to look at, especially if I've missed anything, because I always miss a huge amount of stuff, just shout out to me. We've got ultra low latency mode now on Discord and on Twitch. So, you know, this is the time to just call out to me and I instantly see it and I can ignore it in real time. But anyway, ongoing wars. Well, it's not an ongoing war right now, but we can see that the checkerboard is back. Not only is the checkerboard back, the Peyote Khanate is back. It's all kicking off. Asia is back again, baby. Yes. Tribute asking, is the live stream on? Where it clearly says beside my name, Kimichi streaming EU4. At the time where I stream every single week. Just below where everyone is asking about streaming. Come on, Tribute. Put two and two together. So the interesting wars right now are happening in the middle. Central Asia, the Middle East. So we've got Lagofia. They are at war. With Achaemenia, Chigoris, they've got Nicosonia on their side. And that looks like a bit of a dodgy one for Lagofia. But then you look at the wars Achaemenia's in. And they've bitten off a bit more than they can chew. They're in a separate war as well. Two separate wars for Achaemenia. They've attacked Lagofia. And then Monorohan are diving in on Punjabi prison. And as you can see, a resurgent Monorohan, a bit of a resurgent Hive as well. The Steppes are back with a vengeance, taking over Mahasada as well. There was another war somewhere. Ah, yes, we zoom in here. And we can see they're not the Royal Marines. I keep wanting to call them the Royal Marines. But not only are they not royal, they're a theocracy. They're a Sunni theocracy at that. But in any case, the amphibious heroes of the tolerant left are trying to take over all of Brittany again. Interestingly, I'll quickly show you this. This is something I saw earlier on. If we come all the way down to province development and look at the most developed province in the world, it's actually Rennes right here, Brittany. The center of the world's culture, development, the most populated city in the world right there. And the tolerant left tore it out of the grasp of the French. So that's what the war's over. We also have an ongoing war with Australia Major, because of course we do. Australia Major looking a bit on the ripped apart and left to die side. You see separatists all along here. They are at war, as you can see, with Minangkabau. I think that's Minangkabau actually declaring that war on them. God, independence guaranteed by Kamenot. Can you imagine the shame? Was there anything else? Nope. So, 1st of January, 1694, I suggest we just start rolling along, see where events take us. So, as always, I haven't bothered testing the volume or anything either, so if the music is too loud or too low, or my voice is too loud, too low, tell me, and I'll pretend I know what I'm doing and try and fix it. So in any case, we've got Achaemenia fighting. Well, it's not just a two-front war. It's not just the two separate wars. It's that it's a four-front war. North, south, east, and west. Now, to be honest, if I was Achaemenia, what would I be doing here? I think I'd be kind of throwing Punjabi prison under the bus, honestly. Because Mono Rohan, what do they want? They want all of Punjabi prison. Oh, they want all of everything. I mean, that's quite a nice border, actually. That's a nice straight border. I hope they achieve it. You know, we get up into Siberia and it's a bit dodgy, but Mono Rohan, if they just take these few provinces and get a nice straight line down to India, I can appreciate that. Achaemenia, well, someone's pieced out. Chigoris has pieced out. Or rather, that was... Yeah, that's an exiled Chigoris troop there. Someone's pieced out. Nicosonia? I'm so bad at this. Where's Solaz? I hope Solaz is watching, otherwise we're not going to know anything that's happening. I think they were already... Well, I don't know what's... Right, there's peace now. There's peace now. And Achaemenia have peaced out with Lagofia. And maybe in front of my eyes they took stuff. Maybe they didn't. God, if Solaz wasn't paying attention, then off. There's no chance for the rest of us. But Achaemenia have very quickly gotten out of their offensive war against Lagofia. I imagine that was a white peace. We can check. Yep, that'll be a white peace. It's just a 5-year truce. And they're going to concentrate on helping out their buddies in the Punjabi prison. Fair dues. Brittany have knocked the tolerant left back out of the continent. Ryan Nakar building troops en masse. That's a shame. That's a massive loss for the tolerant left. Was Tver involved? Not recently. There's truces there, but the truces are ready to expire. Incidentally, all the music... Well, I imagine much of the music you'll hear today brand new to this playlist. Right, Mono Rohan have taken the entire border with the Punjabi prison. They filled out... In fact... That is... Those are some of the best borders I've ever seen from an AI country in the otherwise very difficult to make neat borders in steps. Look at that, the Punjabi prison almost looking quite neat now. Is that Mother Base as well? Have they gotten a bit more of Achaemenia? Not quite yet, but Punjabi prison just got knocked down a peg or two. Incidentally, while Nader Shah taken over last session, Tally-ho, still allied with Gyanlin. Still kind of exist. They missed the province on that border. We can just... It's a blue province, you know. We can just pretend that belongs to Achaemenia. So what's going down in Europa? In fact, let me move my chat all the way over here so I can... No, not so it's right in front of the microphone. That's stupid. And now I can actually read and kind of look at the screen at the same time. So Luxembourg really improved their lot last time. Epiphany Separatists running wild for a... Well, not running wild. I think the Separatists are already dead. Speaking of Luxembourg, I don't think they're in a disaster at all. I think they just constantly keep getting rebels. Their legitimacy is very, very low. They have zero legitimacy, and that's why they keep getting so many rebels in Communist Luxembourg. But you'll notice Communist Luxembourg are now indeed a kingdom. Were they always a kingdom? No, they were definitely a republic at some point. I'm not sure if they were a proper peasants' republic, but they were definitely a republic. So Teshuvah will remember, or we will remember about Teshuvah, they're at war various times, on various occasions last session, and yet they've not lost anything yet. I don't know how they've managed to not lose anything. Maybe the tributaries on the wane, maybe they didn't really want anything to the tributaries after all. What's even down there? Oh, Jabber is actually 24 development. How have they gotten to 24 development? Because it's been improved 21 times. That starts as just a rubbish 111 province. And oh, look at this coastline. Teshuvah doing well for themselves. To be fair, if you're going to be forced to just sit back and do nothing, at least have some lovely holiday homes on the coast and enjoy yourselves. Hello? So Mahasada, they of literally taking the mandate of heaven for no reason. They're in trouble. I'm not sure they even have an army. If we zoom in a little bit more. Because this is all of Mahasada's development right here. We get into this, and this is just Tibet. This is just the Himalayas. There's nothing here. Look at that orange and red. This is all their development. That's the capital just there. And even this tiny Chachao army. The Paioti Khanate are in there. Jiaozhou. Where? So Jiaozhou. There's various wars going on right now. And I think we'll just leave them to it. I think we'll look away, we'll come back, and Asia will have sorted itself out. Is that a war for the mandate of heaven? It is a war for the mandate of heaven. Oh, but that is Jiaozhou versus the Hive. And it's the Hive versus Jiaozhou and Monorohan. So that is a bit of a bigger war than first it seemed. The Hive would absolutely crush Jiaozhou. But Monorohan introduced a wrinkle into things. Maybe the Hive are looking to knock out Jiaozhou, or however one would prefer to pronounce it. Certainly not the way I'm doing it. Before Monorohan really gets in here and demolishes the Hive. Did Matamba always have this province? I think they did, and I'm just making it up. Because it would look a lot neater if Jabarland had it. Did I say this? What do I say every single stream? I imagine most of what I say every single stream, because I'm a very one-note streamer. Right, we'll ignore Africa, we'll ignore Asia. This is, after all, Europa Universalis. Oh, no. Australia Major getting pushed back out of Minangkabau. Are they still in Australia? Not really. Not really. God, New Zealand is an actual mess. Hispania are just messing about over here as well. Who's this? This is Communist Luxembourg in the Tuamotu Islands. Who's got Hawaii? Of course it's Jagoras. A little recap of the colonies then. Gairav and Hispania in Canada. Florides, New Hispania. Incidentally, these colonies don't really help out Hispania that much because of the way trade works. Because trade from Chesapeake Bay can only go, we'll have a quick look, to the Gulf of St. Lawrence or the English Channel. And from the Gulf of St. Lawrence into the North Sea of Bordeaux. So Hispania can't actually make much of that trade. The delegation look mental in the Americas. What I'll quickly show you is this, though. That is all a wasteland. So while they do have a good chunk of Louisiana, and the southern delegation, of course, are in there, that is not one big contiguous block of land. Leftist Mexico are actually pretty meaty, because look at this. That's all gold. All gold. Come down here. I'm surprised that Bogota are still alive, honestly. How are they doing for themselves? Still only military tech 12. Let's have a look at the tech map. It's a dark red. Even Athens weren't dark red. So they've got military tech 12 against 23, 22, 23. God, even that... Is that, it's not Neroland. Even the New Nero Empire. Even the New Nero Empire has military tech 23. See Moro Rohan just slithering into the western edge of the hive. Buoyed by their recent triumphs in India. Rebels down here, we have Picardy revolutionaries. It is not yet the age of the revolution, though. So we're not going to see revolutionary Picardy, although we might see that administrative monarchy turn to a constitutional republic. See, this is kind of the thing as well. Say Hispania or Garavdesh undergoes a revolution, then they're going to be getting rid of the monarchy. They'll lose the personal union. So it's interesting. Speaking of interesting, here's Costania. Are they on the attack? Oh no. Defender. Costani have been piled upon from all sides. Oh god. Nicholsonia are going to do their best to help them out, but I can't see it. Oh god, we just zoomed in and it's just armies peppering the landscape. I think Costani just finished a war with Zagreb we must have missed, because certainly this all of Greece used to belong to Zagreb. But yeah, Costani not long for this world. And indeed, Aydin focusing on Nicholsonia, and Basra in that war as well. And indeed, if Al-Wahat are in this war, then Nicholsonia. Oh, Teshuva are actually in a war. Tell me, if Teshuva actually get land from this. Fingers crossed. If one thing can come from the destruction of Costania, and look at this as well, Costania outnumbered, but they were still going to beat back that tributary stack. And it's only with the en masse reinforcements from Yarnum. And even then, Costania were fighting back. But it's just the utter weight of numbers. If Yarnum were to stretch around the Carpathian Mountains, that would actually be a pretty good looking empire. See, there we go. It would look quite decent. This is something interesting to look out for. We've got, who is this even down here? It's not even the New Nero Empire separatists. It'll be interesting to see who takes all these occupations, because Steiermark grew quite a bit last session, and they're going for it again. But this has to essentially be the end for Costania. Nicholsonia holding their own, Teshuva getting beaten back deep in the Nicholsonia homeland. I keep forgetting Cairo isn't their capital, it's Al-Quds, it's Jerusalem which is their capital. One of the biggest provinces in the world, and currently occupied by Aydin. Who has, which one is Vienna? Bex is Vienna. So, Aporia, of all people, still holding on to Vienna, and they are guaranteed by Rhein-Neckar. We saw last time that Yarnum and Rhein-Neckar went head-to-head. It looked like Yarnum had the upper hand, but Rhein-Neckar pulled it back. But now, with Yarnum just expanding at will through Transylvania, into Bulgaria, they could even take Constantinople, maybe technically. Though I feel Aydin have that well in hand. That's the thing, once expansion slows down, it's kind of a death knell. Rhein-Neckar, they do still have options, but they're all very risky. Hansa Reich have good allies. Well, they have a lot of allies, I'm not sure how good they are. Hello. Hansa Reich may well be growing very much quite soon. Weren't Communist Luxembourg allied with Hispania? Hispania have dropped Communist Luxembourg and left them to their fate. When did they cancel that treaty? It was 97, August 97. When did that war start? We can't really tell without going into it, so I don't really want to. But yeah, I think that was just a plain dishonored call. Who's the Holy Roman Emperor? It's Hansa Reich, but here's the thing, Steiermark are getting up there. Steiermark are growing. I think they are part of the Empire. Yeah, look at that. They're even adding more land to the Empire. Look at how far the Holy Roman Empire is reaching out now. "250 stacks," said someone. Well, Steiermark, that's going to help them a whole lot on their quest to become Holy Roman Emperor. Steiermark are getting right up there now. And now that Kostani have just been demolished utterly by Steiermark, by Yarnum, Aydin can move in, pick up the pieces. In fact, Aydin, if they piece out Nichols... Oh, hello, what is this? A gathering of the AIs. This is Aydin, Al-Wahat, Basra, all jumping down the throat of Nicosonia. A reminder that anything you see on stream will obviously be... Oh no. Will obviously always be on stream. We can refer back to it, look at it if we want to. But Hansa Reich, looking like a proper Hansa now. We have a look at this trade node. Look, that is exactly what they've taken. They wanted the Lübeck trade node. Picture perfect. That's impressive, actually. Look at that. 79% of the Hansa node. Impressive. But Communist Luxembourg now, no allies. They are now guaranteed by Hispania. Who's taking a screenshot of a screen? Gairav, what's this? What you did? Dallas Kogan, still not in Hansa Reich hands, but you have to feel that's next up on the agenda. Look at this, 5.56 ducats a month from the massive production here. Stora Kopparberget. No, that's not it at all. But you have to imagine that Chironia, that Tver will be looking upon Communist Luxembourg with greedy jealous eyes. And they'll be moving in. And what will Hispania actually do about it? It's difficult to see what they'll actually bother with. Massive naval battle down here, but it's mostly a transport fleet for Nicosonia against the Mediterranean war fleet of everyone else, and their navy has just been shattered. So Aydin, a major power player in this late game. You have to imagine they're going to take... Well, it's a nationalist war. And Aydin are Turkish, I think. So they can take all of that for very little. probably everything round here as well from Nicholsonia. So we move over here. We see Mahasada did actually survive this war of Chaocho. But there's something else they're not surviving. Gyan Lane are in by themselves, Punjabi Prison are in by themselves, and Gyan Lane are the ones that actually have all the occupation. Oh no! The Punjab Mahasada war is a nationalist war. The Gyan Lane war is for the Mandate of Heaven. If somehow the Emperor of China ends up being this tiny surrounded Indian state, then I think we just have to stop the campaign there and then. Mono Rohan versus the Hive is still going on, and they have reversed direction. Jiazhu are picking apart the Hive with Mono Rohan's help. It's not a pretty sight. Somehow the Hive have occupations down on the Lagothian border. Aporia jumping on the corpse of Costagny. As well they might. They can take 2 provinces there. Well, they could actually take... Aporia still have land up here. So they can take Simandare. They can take Kerala. Yeah, they can take whatever Aydin don't. But what do Aydin want? Not quite everything. So is that Nicholsonia at peace? So that is... Teshuvah now at war. Oh, no. So, the Enlightenment is spawned. Who among us is the most enlightened? I've just realized my chat has stopped working. Cyprus is occupied by Zagrebian separatists. Of course it's not Vamsun separatists. Calm down. No, my chat froze and I needed to get it out of the way. There we go. This is why Hispania betrayed communist Luxembourg, because they needed to beat up on some other defenseless state. Yep, Castagni all but gone. Aydin looking every inch. The Osmanoglu Bay. Is that it? I said it's a nationalist war. They could take so much for half cost in both aggressive expansion and in war score cost. And who's going to care about it? I'll tell you who. Nicholsonia. And no one else. Nobody cares. Interestingly, it looks like they did give a province back to Aporia, but that was the war goal for Aporia, so they're not going to get that now. So what does Hispania want from this? King Henrique. Henrique, a revanche. Disappointing. All this power, and what do you do with it? You bully the younger kids. Sickening. Slavers Bay, do you have any alliances? Still no. Because look at this. Look at that connection. That tiny little... It's not an isthmus. Anyway, what I was going to do, we're going to check who the most enlightened country in the world is. No, not quite. Was there going to be a save? Yes, there was. See, thank God Solas was here. Otherwise, we'd never have a save in 1700, and that'd be terrible. Meanwhile, if it hasn't come up on screen, best guess, who is the most enlightened empire among us? The Enlightenment can spawn pretty much anywhere where there's a university building, so it could have spawned anywhere in the world. Otherwise, it's the most talented rulers. So let's scroll all the way down here to get to MK. S2 1700. 2 votes for the tally-ho. I have my doubts that it's going to be the Celestial Entente, but potentially. That would make some sense. That the Celestial Entente, possibly the most, modern constitutional republic, that they would have the Enlightenment. These are some banging tunes, lads. Banging tunes. I'd say almost, just given how many provinces they have and how rich they are, I'm going to bet on Slavers Bay. I say bet, I'm not going to actually bet anything. But before we unpause, let us jump into a nation that really doesn't matter. Nah, I was figuring out what country would be best to make that joke about. But let's jump into Belungen so we can actually see the printing press. No, that's the printing press. Marit. Where's Marit? Well, they might be dying, but they'll be dying based on very philosophically sound principles. Just a 10 development jungle. How have they spawned the Enlightenment? It's not even their capital. Where is their capital? I mean, maybe it didn't spawn in their capital because everyone's revolting. And you know what? Let's move our philosophers out the capital. Let's move them into the jungle, hide them from the the revolution, and then we can start our own intellectual revolution. Rhein-Neckar paying their troops. Could just be an exercise. Could be that the truce with Luxembourg is up. Who are Luxembourg allied with? Steiermark, Curonia. So those are actually 2 fairly hefty. I keep saying AI countries. They're not the AI countries. Well, they are the AI countries because everyone's the AI country. But a non-player country. Meanwhile, Aporia have been beaten back because Castania have somehow gotten a 14k strong army from their 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces. Masses of Aporian separatists, but Yharnam will deal with those very, very quickly. While we're here, still no Liberty Desire and still no integration. But what it's with, Hispania could start integrating Garavdesh, and it would take about 80 years. So Mahasada almost entirely occupied by Gyan Lane. Punjabi prison still at war, but I don't think they have the occupations they really wanted. They've only got a 17% war score here. The truce is with Akamini with Punjabi prison for Gyan Lane. What's Shambhala's next move? Allied with Jabaraland, they don't have many other major allies. But if we look in here, we'll see Hispania far and away in the lead for great powers of the world. But Shambhala are there completely on their own development, which is more than anyone else nearby them can say. Everyone else has their development from colonies, apart from Rhein-Neckar and Yharnam, who are in there as well, the central German states. Shambhala are the single greatest country in this terrible world that we inhabit. Oh, I got my hopes up so much there. We saw green occupations in North Garavdesh, but somehow it's just Teshuvah. Teshuvah are not long for this world. Tributaries in Yharnam in a coalition against Picardy. That is quite a coalition against Picardy, actually. I think only -8 because so much of Teshuvah is this development here. As soon as that capital falls, they are done. 10 ducats a month from the tributaries is nothing to sniff at. Achaemenia, what are you up to? What's your next move? Wait for the truces to go down and do the exact same thing, I hope. So I think we're pretty much at the... Well, obviously we're already at the end game in general and the end game of colonialism in particular. But I don't think there's really any provinces left to colonize apart from very north, you know, North Rocky Mountains. If we look at the wastelands here, loads of wasteland around the Hudson Bay, the Rocky Mountains. So it's just kind of this area to fill in. It looks like the delegation in Chigoris are going to do it. A few Native American tribes left, being sieged down by Delegation Louisiana. It's only really Bogota who are the holdouts here. And you have to expect, especially if Luxembourg and Colombia are right there, this could... Well, it's not going to be their way back into the game, because that long deserted them. But it's a way for communist Luxembourg to expand. How are Hansereich looking now? They're almost making imperial authority, which is amazing. Do the tributaries desire anything? I bet they do. I bet they desire a lot of stuff. But they have 30 provinces. Oh, Damiano del Tributes. Damiano del Tributes, leader of the Serene Republic. Is that that's a Steiermark army? So I didn't Steiermark in on this. Interesting. So that'll be how Teshuvah keep getting these teasing occupations. Indeed, Lyon is being brought down by a 50k strong Aydin army. And while the dual monarchy, they do have numbers in the area, they need to coordinate them to actually shift them. But as we've seen, as viewers of the stream will have seen yesterday, it's quite difficult to siege down France against superior quality. And let me tell you, Hispania probably have superior quality. Well, espionage, that doesn't help. They have 7.5 discipline, they've got shock damage, they've got artillery combat and that. Oh, no. They have vastly superior quality. Let me just say that right now. But a concentrated effort here. God, imagine if they somehow freed Garovdesh and Aydin were just the absolute hero. So that's why a lot of... It's why it's only 21% war score now. Because they need to now siege down Aydin, they need to siege down Steiermark. We've got Garovdesh in Steiermark. Steiermark trying to shift them from Karnten, despite being outnumbered. But see that -2 bonus because it's a mountain fort? That's an amazing fight for Steiermark to take. They might win it before the reinforcements. They haven't. Will they still hold out? No, I think it's going to be utter weight of numbers that does it for them. No, they still won. Massively outnumbered, they still managed to defend that mountain fort. They're going to get crushed. No! They turn back 60,000 troops with just the... They're going on the offensive now. Perhaps they saw the Aydin army. Over the hills and far away, coming into a rumble. This Hispanian army led by King Henrique himself. Running through Apulia now. And Teshuvan peasants, this is actually really good news for Teshuvah. What is this mass pirating going on down here? Teshuvah's army hiding in Nicholsonia. But this is going to be... There's 18 Imperial Authority. What I think has happened is an event and... Oh no, Emperor Dennis von Kamichi. I think it's just 2 events in quick succession. We are very close to having positive Imperial Authority. If we had a few more princes, it would be happening. But I'm guessing that's from masses of territory being added. Indeed, the tributaries all this is still part of the Empire as well. So really what the Holy Roman Empire needs to do is kill the Tributeers. It could even be in their interest to do so. The Tributeers, of course, allied to Yharnam, an axis of evil if ever I saw one. Who are Rhein-Neckar allied with? Well, that's not good. Picardy only. Picardy, remember? Do they still have a coalition against them? They have a coalition that can fire against them at any given time. And they are completely selling out to Rhein-Neckar for their own protection. So Rhein-Neckar are in a quite precarious position. Because if the Tributeers in Yharnam come gunning for Rhein-Neckar, Hansereich can probably pour in as well, and Hansereich can bring in allies of their own with the Tolerant Left, with Tver. I suppose allied to Picardy as well, that doesn't help too much. Oversticht. That's one of the tiny ones in here, yep. Picardy allied with Hispania. Well, that is... Oh, yeah, I remember this. It's an impressive list of allies. And that's why Picardy haven't died to this mass coalition yet. Would Hispania actually defend Picardy? I don't think they would. Can I show that war? Which war was that? That was 4 minutes ago and I missed it. Meanwhile, Punjabi prison, are they still at war? No, they've peaced out. Allied with Achaemenian Jabariland, good. That's a reasonable alliance for them to get. Did they actually take anything? I'm not sure. So it's Gyan Lane still at war. Allied with the Taliho and Kamenot. I don't see a Mahasada army. So what expects is just a matter of time before Gyan Lane actually bother to do the sieging down. Jiazhu going for the Celestial Entente, or perhaps the other way around. No, it's the Jiazhu. It's a purely one-on-one war here between the Celestial Entente and Jiazhu. Meanwhile, Japan sits at peace. So this is the task for the non-player allies. Did Chigoris take a bunch from the Weeaboos? They did last time, yep. They might have taken a bit more. Oh, yes, certainly. And that is... Oh, that's a goddamn shame, because Paraganea, from their capital in Okinawa, managed to take this island. I can't remember which island it actually is. And they managed to take most of Korea. And then Chigoris have just come in and said, oh, you know what? Thank you very much. And now Glorious Nippon moving in on Paraganea's remaining land in mainland Japan. If there is such a thing as mainland Japan. Beyond this huge one here. In fact, I'll stop talking about Japanese geography. Gyan Lane have declared peace. They're looking a whole lot bigger. Ah... Ah. Vidarath Pala Raghuvansi. Raghuvansi? Double Raghuvansi? Double Raghuvansi is the current Emperor of China. Congratulations, Gyan Lane! Exclaim the chat. So this will tick down very quickly. Mahasadar could end up surviving. If Shambhala fights for it now, they might have a chance at actually maintaining the mandate. But Gyan Lane need a whole lot more tributaries than just Kangra and Kush. Does that mean that the Kamichi nations are the Holy Roman Emperors and the Chinese Emperors? Yes, it does. It looks like moves have been made. And is it a war on Picardy? Is that what's happening here? So the Swiss have declared war on Picardy. It's a punitive war on Picardy. And it is game on. They have brought Hansereich into it. I mean, I'm not going to say I told you so. But let's have a look and see which Picardy allies came in and which didn't. Oh, look. Hispania have betrayed Picardy. Who could have foreseen this one coming? Not I, the omniscient observer. But that has drawn Hansereich and Rhein-Neckar onto the same side, which is excellent news for Rhein-Neckar. And here's the thing as well, with this mass expansion of the Holy Roman Empire, that's just going to empower, well, I say plus 7% war limit, plus 7% force limit, just flat 7, not percent. They may still be in their own war. They're not. They're not at all. They've beaten the heck out of Teshuvah. They've taken Teshuvan land, they've neatened up the borders, and now they're sitting doing nothing. They don't even have any allies. Incidentally, this mass betrayal from Hispania is going to cut into their diplomatic reputation. I don't know if we can see it around here. Probably not. But that's going to add to the... You can see the diplomatic reputation coming down there. It's going to add to the liberty desire of Gravdesh, and it's going to make it more difficult for them to integrate. War recap for those of us just getting here. In fact, let's center it on Picardy. It is Switzerland versus Picardy, and they've all managed to drag in a couple of allies on each side. So to kill off this coalition, well, actually, that's a risky move for the Swiss, isn't it? Because if Rhein-Neckar can siege on this level 9 mounted fort, well, I dare say, do they have defensive ideas to Switzerland? Defensive ideas? Oh, a defensive level 9 fort. Did I give them any massive ideas at all? No. But the Swiss army is out there as well. I bet there's one good general out there for the Swiss army. There's a 3-star general out there for Rhein-Neckar. Picardy cutting into the tributaries. Epiphany all but knocked out, but this is a coalition war. I'm not exactly sure of the rules of a coalition war, but you cannot knock out the attackers. Big war here. But the tributaries seem to be folding to Rhein-Neckar and their superior general. Look at that. Oh no. They've turned it around. The reinforcements came in for Rhein-Neckar. But the tributaries just really don't have the finances anymore for their huge Merc charge. They're keeping their armies close in here. They've lost the fort of Milan. And there's the amazing Swiss general. 4641, not too bad. Because more and more trade will be going in to the English Channel, to Sevilla, to Genoa, and far less will be going into Genoa. Into Venice, I mean. I'm an idiot. Batnarchia. Are they doing it? Oh no! What's happened here? I can't believe you've done this. Costagni have gone. Costagni gone, replaced with Athens. That was Costagni's last province. And not only have they been replaced by Athens, they've been replaced by an up-to-tech Athens. Costagni gone. Batnarchia are trying to take advantage of the tributaries' distractions to declare war on their trade cities. They've been beaten back. But in that war, we have Athens versus Batnarchia, a war for the ages. What a proud fleet there, sailing back into port at Malta. I think they've improved Malta a little bit. Yeah, 3 times. Not nearly enough, but yeah, Athens itself. They're both rubbish fish provinces. What's Cosenza? A rubbish wine province. A war for the ages. Meanwhile, up here, we again see Rhein-Neckar. When backed by the Holy Roman Emperor, they are demolishing Yharnam. What's Aporia doing in Athens? Oh no, say it ain't so. Oh, what is this? Aporia are in the war on Batnakia's side. Which throws a bit of a wrinkle into things, especially if they somehow manage to lose to Athens. If they lose to Athens, then God help us. But it's all kicking off in the middle. Nobody is going for the war goal. Is that Konstantin von Ortenberg fleeing in the face of this 10,000 strong Swiss army? But the mass numbers just crushing Yharnam, taking terrain penalties as well. And even over here, the isolated Rhein-Neckar armies winning out on the farmlands. Tolerant left not really getting involved here. This could be supporting the independence of New Hispania. Interesting. Very interesting. But this could be the tolerant left's opportunity to jump in on Brittany by themselves while Picardy wouldn't answer the call. Tver on Yharnam would be... It would be the death of Yharnam, honestly. And I'd be surprised if they didn't. What does Tver want? They want slices of Curonia, of Yharnam. What does Lagofia want? They want a bit of the same. Another battle down here. Rhein-Neckar have been caught out, though. They've been caught in the forest and been sent packing. But Rhein-Neckar are just all over the place, and they're mostly still winning battles. But 3-star general versus 3-star general. A slight... Oh no, the Swiss came in, and look at those stats change, and look at the stats go up. But then Rhein-Neckar have the numbers. Very, very close one, but Rhein-Neckar win out. Tver and Lagofia's armies, miles away. Don't seem too interested, but could Aydin? Could Aydin go in? Absolutely going ham. They could take on Yharnam. They probably couldn't, but they could go for it. Oh no, look at these armies. Do they have quantity ideas? Of course they are. First thing they got. So Aydin could have a go at Yharnam now. For sure. Hispania war over? Yep. Because I remember seeing they took all this, and they also took the provinces over here. So I suppose the borders look a little bit neater. It'd probably look neater still if they could take this wasteland. Tolerant left, actual heroes. Look at this. Slavers Bay now. They have a relevant ally in the tolerant left. Let's see if they can sandwich Hispania and do some good work there. Tolerant left just looking to make anything happen. Although, to be fair, it looks like they're going in on Hispania the hardest. Is there a way to see when Slavers Bay last war even was the Riz? But we'll do it at the end of the session if someone reminds me. So, Aporia are managing to lose. They... Oh no. They've knocked Athens out of the war. And now they are just merely losing to the city of Cosenza, but their whole army is now sieging down Cosenza. Could this mean Batnakia? Oh! Of all unlikely comeback stories, could we see Batnakia now back on the Italian mainland? I think it's going to happen. Unless Cosenza, they've knocked down the Aporian capital. Is this going to knock out Aporia? Surely Batnakia still have this. Cosenza only have one province, and Batnakia have it. The tributaries getting beaten down now. They've lost 2 of their internal forts. What's their capital? Is it still Venezia? It's still Venezia, and there's not even a fort on Venezia. We'll keep abreast of this. Tributaries versus Hunserreich. Dennis von Kamichi, the Holy Roman Emperor himself, taking massive penalties here. I don't think he's going to hold out until Rhein-Neckar can get there to save him and bail him out. Nope, not quite. But in come Rhein-Neckar, but here come reinforcements from Yarnum. Here's the thing, I don't think land can really be taken here, but cores can be returned. So what are Hunserreich going to get out of this? Probably nothing. What are Rhein-Neckar going to get? Probably nothing. What are Picardy going to get? God, imagine if Picardy actually got something out of a punitive war. Hold on. I'm never prepared. I'm never prepared. Right, let's pretend we didn't see this. Oh, look at this war in Europe. War's kicking off in Europe, lads. Oh, you know what, guys? Let's go chat. Wasn't there a war between Batnarchia? Weren't they trying to get back on the Italian mainland? Let's. Oh my God. Seamless. Oh, that's an ugly province at this level, isn't it? Batnarchia, the Reformation, Reconciliation, and Revenge. They're all gonna want their... Imagine if the tributaries collapse now and Batnarchia are back. What religion are Batnarchia, actually? They are now Reformed, which is unfortunate, but understandable. They kinda have to be to not die. So while this has been going on, are we missing... Oh, hello! We are certainly missing out on something. And that is Shambhala going in on Kamenot. And by the looks of things, Gyan Lane have abandoned them to their fate, which is a massive mistake. Although it looks like Gyan Lane have just gotten out of a war for the Punjabi prison. And maybe that was why. The Punjabi prison not pleased at being cut off by Gyan Lane. They've come in, they've crushed Gyan Lane. That's let Shambhala in to crush Kamenot. Meanwhile, Chigoris are at war with Weabalumbia. What is that for? That's for the rest of Korea down there. Glorious Nippon, meanwhile. Chigoris are sieging down Kyoto. They've taken Kyoto. Glorious Nippon coming in with a massive comeback. Didn't they used to be Mahasadar? Yeah, Mahasadar. There's just a big country called Kaobang in the middle of where Mahasadar used to be. It's nothing. Don't pay attention to that. I think what we want and what Japan needs is to be fully unified under Chigoris rule. But it's kind of an uncanny parallel that Epiphany lost out in the West, so Epiphanes' other nation, yeah, they did actually get back all of Korea in the East. Draghi, Teshuvah. Teshuvah have actually made some really good allies. And they actually put up a good fight. They didn't lose that much. Aporia, on the other hand, oof. Who knows what's going on with them? But allied with Batnarchia, allied with Tver again. Guaranteed by Rhein-Neckar. Oh, Steiermark. Steiermark are going for Zagreb and Corsica. And Aydin are going in as well. Separate wars there. So the non-player countries just eating up the Balkans at a rate of knots. Tributaries have... Right. Something's happened. And when I say something, I mean... Oh! The delegation! Oh, what have they done? What have they done? Who have they brought in? They brought in no one! Oh, I can't believe they've done this. So the mass war is over against Picardy. I don't think they've lost much of anything. But the delegation have tried to pick back. Oh, no. Oh. Provinces back to Garavdesh from tributaries. I can't believe they've done that. Why have they done that? Nationalist war for Hispania. They're wanting those islands. Yarnum could have been forced to give back provinces, return cores. Essentially, everyone can be forced to return cores. Apart from Switzerland, they only have one province left. And that was kind of the allure for Switzerland. That's why they will have been so eager to declare that war, because they could have gotten back all their cores of Rhein-Neckar. Well, could I check? Well, I mean, I don't know how to check if they've lost cores. Because I think this is what they'd already all lost before. Yeah, Ardis, don't look. Ardis, it's fine. Heilig Mulches. Yeah, there we go. So Heilig Mulches back on the map. That will have been down to that war, certainly, yeah. But meanwhile, the delegation have picked a war. Have they? They are the attackers, right? Yeah, in the middle of all that, the delegation have tried to pick a war against Picardy, thinking, their allies probably, they're busy with Yarn and with the tributaries, with these great juggernauts of the 18th century. We can just sneak in, take a bit of Picardy land. Oh no. This is probably the end of the delegation. Like, without exaggeration, it's an imperialist war, and it means it'll cost 75% of the usual total to take land. So who's going to take what? I don't think Hansareich are going to get much from this. But Picardy could keep growing. Rhein-Neckar could take pretty much whatever they want. Look at that, 120,000 strong. Utterly crushed. We are now fully in the age of revolutions. Revolutionary Picardy. So we'll keep this war rolling in the background while we have a quick check. So nobody really valid targets of the revolution. So let's look at all these colonies, by the way, and let's have a look at their liberty desires. They're doing pretty well for themselves, honestly. Delegation La Plata not looking too great. That's Garavdesh troops. No! The actual most evil people in the game. Why? You never know, 9.5k on an amphibious landing in a jungle, they might hold out. Fight for your lives, New Nero Empire and Kenneth Albarak. Fight against the Imperial invader. Now they're dead. They're dead. Where are their other provinces? Don't tell me they've lost all the... I think they have actually lost all their other provinces. The New Nero Empire, out of here. So anyway, what were they doing? Tributaries in Aporia. Oh, for goodness sake. Tributaire can't suffer a bat knock to live. Tolerant left went in on Brittany. Of course they did. They are now... God, that... Did they take anything? Did they lose anything? God, the Tolerant left were at war. They've already signed a peace. It's a long war score. And Like, because that's a truce of 9 years. So they took something, or they conceded something, but who knows what it actually was. I have reached the end of my brand new music, so we're going back to the old music, because of course we are. If it would finally play. But no. Brittany had colonies? I don't think so. Well, they certainly don't even have exploration ideas. Luxembourg are continuing their own conquest. Tribute, I can't believe you killed Batnakia. I did in Steiermark. Look at that as well. Who are they allied with? Alwahat, Basra, Teshuva. Steiermark allied with Yarnum, Teshuva. Teshuva have now found themselves some quite solid allies. Yeah, rest in peace, Zagreb. And your 50,000 separatists. Any interesting separatists? Well, Luxembourg separatists up there. Maybe what happened, because this is brand new, the tolerant left didn't always have Iceland. This is brand new to them. And we didn't realise. Well, it's not probably brand new then. That might be what some of the truce is about. So I'm saying there's nothing left to colonise. Greenland's still there. Who wants to be the first to take Greenland? God, such a good Holy Roman Emperor, even fighting off the delegation's own rebels for them. Yeah, Dyson's at the beginning of the session. I was looking at some old maps then. So that was last session. The tributaries pretty much down and out. Oh, I thought these guys were friends. Oh god, this is a war. A 2-on-2 war. You have the giants of Chigoris and Jabaraland. And then you have the big fight. I think this is a Chigoris versus Jabaraland war. But all the fighting's going to be in Central Asia. And what is the actual war goal? It's Madang. Now, if I'm not mistaken... Madang? I'm very much mistaken. This is what the war is for, and Chigoris have taken the war goal. This war is all about this tiny bit of Papua New Guinea. This free development silk province of Papua New Guinea. What happened? I'm not sure you want to know. How has this happened? Shambhala have taken a province, but mostly what they've done is return provinces to Gyanlin. They've returned provinces to the Emperor, as is befitting of their position. But interestingly now, guaranteed by Shambhala, Gyanlin have no allies left, apart from the Tally-Ho. They're desperately trying to suck up to Achaemenia. Probably not a good idea. So the delegation still not pieced out. Vontae. I think what's happened here is that the tolerant left didn't win this in a war. I think it's Luxembourg who've destroyed Brittany and have returned core on that while taking the actual good core for themselves. The delegation allied only with Pisa now. A shameful existence. Hold on. Oh, what a mockery. An utter mockery of what Batnakia used to stand for. They've been released by the tributaries as a vassal. So they're back with Malta. They're back with Cosenza. But they will be doing exactly what the tributeers tell them to do. Could be worse, they could be Hispania. Oh no! Not only have Hispania turned their back on everyone, they have now allied with Vietnam. Riding the car. Not looking too good for themselves. See, this is good. Riding the car, trying to improve their relations with the Holy Roman Emperor. Communist Luxembourg, are they at war? They are. They're defending against Curonia. So that's just a straight up one-on-one war, but Communist Luxembourg, they probably can't hold their own against Curonia. So what are we waiting for over here? I expect Rhine Neckar want a bit more of this piece, but they're not going to get it. And I expect Picardy do as well. Only minus 50. Oh. No? How is it only minus 50? Oh, the colonies. Right. If we have one look over here and suddenly Rhine Neckar are in the Americas, let's just... Right, thank God. All is fine. Is that just a straight up delegation army in California? Yeah, that's where all their actual armies are now. Jabaraland have landed in Mexico, because of course they have. Southern delegation expanding down towards Bogota. Luxembourg, Colombia. This is a terrible looking province. Let's get that off the screen. But we see no real danger for the delegation in the New World right now. So if they want more than 50 war score, they're going to have to really, really work for it. Aydin having to put up with quite a few rebels. What do Curonia want from Communist Luxembourg? They want the Finnish coast for a start. If they could content themselves with taking like up to there, so at least there's some lovely borders. Who are Curonia actually allied with? So they could maybe bring in Luxembourg. Oh no, if they could bring in Luxembourg against Communist Luxembourg. This is terrible. Europe was a mistake. Right, so it's Chigoris getting most of the occupations in the Punjabi prison. And they are getting slaughtered without help. In fact, Monorohan, I think. Yeah, Monorohan in their own war. It's not looking good for the Punjabi prison. Quite frankly, those are some unassailable odds right now. Any armies on boats? What? I can't see things happening in front of my face. What's the odds that I can look at the Atlantic at this distance and see, hey, there's a German army. Mother base also. Mother base. Yeah, they're helping out. Their good ally Monorohan. Will they get any land from this? Potentially. As we see an occupation there. Well, yeah, they've made landfall on the Gulf Coast, of course, from the early wars against Achaemenium. So yeah, they stand to actually gain a little bit from Sind up here. Kamenot allied once again with Gyanlane. Probably a mistake. Guaranteeing Australia major. Oh no. I feel like we should just not put any countries in, you know, Indochina and Indonesia and Malaya. It never ends well. Never ends well. I do have some decent ideas about what we can do next time. Is that a yeah, it's just a Curonian fleet. That little purple thing is a blockade. I was like, oh, is someone else blockading them? But no, not just yet. Mahasada going down. But when are they not? Kosh! Of all people, if Kosh manager... Because this is Kosh! Is it just Kosh? Is this a one-on-one war? This is a one-on-one war. And Mahasada and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enclaves going down to a single 7,000 army. Delegation war is over. Oh no. What kind of agreement is this? Oh. The Rhine-Neckar diplomacy strikes again. Allied with the tributaries are waning tributaries. They've turned their back on Yarnum, actually. But, oh god, look at this for a list of allies. Switzerland, Hispania, Chagoris, Steiermark, Curonia. This is... Once this powder keg explodes, this is going to be quite something. If it ever does. What's going on down here? New trade cities for the tributaries. The Epiphany are going to have to contend with a strengthened Luxembourg and a strengthened Picardy to get anything back. I feel like that's not going to happen. If we have a quick look at the delegation now, we can see, oh, Communist Luxembourg pouncing instantly. They want Luanda, which is, I actually know, that province down there. Oh no, is it the other way around? No, they're going after Communist Luxembourg. They're striking while they still can. But the liberty desire on these colonies is going to tick up and up and up. Delegation Peru is almost there. What will very definitely be in the delegation's favour is how rich they are. Because even having lost all of that land, they have a 20% share pretty much of the English Channel. And the English Channel is by far the richest node, unless anything else has happened recently. Look at that, by so far! By nearly 50% more than Genoa. But here's the thing, the delegation's demise is gonna really empower Rhine-Neckar. In fact, let's go back and look at this and look at trade incomes now. The tolerant left utterly dominant in trade income, thanks to the delegation shooting themselves in the foot. God, it's all kicking off. The tolerant left, our champions, could be the contender to Hispania's throne of #1 in the world. The Enlightenment spreads round the globe, some picking it up quicker than others. God, you'd think, like, with the whole Buddhist thing, that Shambhala would reach Enlightenment first. But no, a bunch of random Aussies get there before they do. Right, Punjabi prison are out of their war with someone. Let's not speak to hope that motorbike doesn't get picked up. I don't think it managed it. How good is that one disconnected province? Well, it's Utrecht. It's 14 development. It's not a trade province. It's cloth, though. It's a good province. But it's not game-changing. Oh, good. You see, what I've done today is not close my window. Picardy getting lit up by Luxembourg. The Luxembourg... Interesting. So this is Have they just... Did Picardy just get completely abandoned? I think Picardy just got completely abandoned. You can see this whole host of truces here. And then Luxembourg just gonna roll right in and say thank you very much. Oh no! Berenger Epiphanus. Hamlin Epiphanus. Thank God we've got rid of the Revanche and Rhine-Neckar. Oh God, King Raymond Revanche is just a waster. I'll say this, Hispania have had a run of really rubbish kings, I think. What I'll say is that if we're looking for a good Epiphanes... Oh no, they've been knocked all the way back out to Okinawa. But are they still Epiphanes? Lord Eomuchi Epiphanes, a 424. Midas, touch tolerant, well advised. See, he's the Epiphanes we want. Could we invite, like, the long, you know, the very, very, very distant cousin just back around to, you know, rule over Epiphany, take them back to glory? But in the meantime, oh god, glorious Nippon are the Shogun Morihito Goku leads Japan into a new era. Paraganean Separatists, that's going to help out Glorious Nippon. Chigoris, they can probably actually keep a hold of Korea. The Papua New Guinea War is going well for Jabaraland. No, not Jabaraland, for Chigoris against Jabaraland. Akamine are still in this war. So does that mean we have Siberian troops down here in Jabaraland? I hope so. But nope. I'll note that there's no Jabaraland armies around here. Chigoris armies are marching back from Punjabi prison. Animist zealots in Australia, Major, for goodness sake. Chigoris landing in Australia, actually. That could be a major pickup if they can get most of Australia. But it means that Jabaraland have fallen off quite disappointingly since they've been bullied repeatedly by Hispania. But this is kind of the war we want to see. Just for the implications. And let's have a quick look at score, because I think that the Tolerant Left will have really jumped up in score. In terms of score gain, if not actual outright score. Slavers Bay up there, riding the car, Tolerant Left. But look, Tolerant Left, they're going to be first in diplomacy. Diplomacy? Admin, surely. I think what we've discovered here is that I don't know anything. So let's just ignore me and anything I say. Say, why would we watch a stream where, you know, half the allure is EU4 being commentated on and then just ignore the commentator? I don't know, that's not for me to say. So this province came from the Brittany versus Luxembourg war, and Luxembourg gave it back to the Tolerant Left, which can only be a massive mistake. What kind of war is this? It's a reconquest war, so what can Luxembourg actually reconquest? They can get quite a lot. This is going to be the making of Luxembourg. They can pretty much get all those cores back for very, very cheap and not very much aggressive expansion. Mono Rohan have crushed Punjabi prison. Oh god, Gyanline have even got... God, even a 363. They are unfortunately still Mayan, so if they get back to, you know, anything approaching strength, they will just immediately lose all their provinces. But anyway, while we're here, Punjabi just dying a death. You have to expect that once this... Oh, I was going to say once that truce is up, that Gyanline will be back in. But, probably not with zero mandate and no allies. So what do Camelot want here? Hopefully not the tally-ho. That would be most unfortunate. Kosh, one province Kosh, won their war. Look at that massive expansion. Well, to be fair, they had 16 development. Now they have 20. Massive expansion. Why couldn't Varmson come back? Who knows? The Hive... restoring that lovely round border with Mahasada. Mwah! Bueno! Paioti Kane, I think, have expanded a tiny bit. The Celestial Entente lost that war to Jiaozu. But they are trying to expand back to Chachao. I'm interested in what the Celestial Entente can actually claim now, and it is quite a lot. I'm assuming this is going to therefore be a reconquest. Yep, Celestial Reconquest. The Celestial Entente could become a decent player now. If they get these cores back. Because that's going to be very high development around these shores. It's going to help them dominate trade from Hangzhou and Canton. So it's too late to actually win the game, of course, but pretty much everyone else is. It would take a monumental collapse, fingers crossed, to actually unseat Hispania. And the clock is ticking. At the current rate, Hispania and the moron king, King Raymond Revanche, will have completely annexed Garovdesh by 1767. Clock is ticking. Wait, hold on. I was looking at this. I expected them to take the course back. I didn't expect them to take literally everything. That's Coalition City. Oh, what, why? I can't believe they've done this. Why have they done this? Luxembourg. They flew so high. Of course it's the Swiss. Why would it be the Swiss? Oh no, and they're dragging down Curonia and Steiermark with them. Oh, why? Curonia and Steiermark. While we're here, Curonia. Oh, they did actually take a huge chunk of communist Luxembourg. Rhein-Neckar. Extending the hand of friendship to those in need. Do the Torrent left have any cores remaining? They will. They absolutely will. They have 2 cores on Luxembourg. And indeed, with Luxembourg getting beaten down, I would not be shocked to see the Torrent left come in with their own war. Did the communists give up their colonies? They still have Luxembourg, Mexico, and Colombia. But did they give up this province down here? They gave up Luanda. And indeed, Delegation Brazil have taken a huge chunk out of Luxembourg, Colombia. And likewise round here, maybe. Epiphany getting the occupations. Well, a punitive war is all about restoring land, about releasing nations, releasing countries. And this is going to be Epiphany back on the map. Epiphany and Delegation both back on the map. So the Tolerant left, enjoy this massive income boost while you can. It might not last. Anyway, Bogota getting eaten into by the Delegation's colonies. Jabaraland have indeed landed in Mexico and Colombia with a U. In Alaska as well. Because of course the Africans have landed in Alaska. Oh, from the depths as well. Glorious Nippon. Looking very glorious indeed. Occupied only by peasants, that's fine. Shambhala's armies are getting kicked off for something. And what is this? I'm not sure what Shambhala have done here, but they have come in to protect Punjabi prison. They've jumped into this war. Whether they've done it through enforcing peace, whether they haven't offered an alliance. God, that's a 666 for the Punjabi prison. It's an Mbaku as well. That's the same dynasty as Jabaraland. God, no wonder they were allied to Jabaraland. They gave them a 666. So Camelot needs out of this war as quickly as humanly possible. They can't even call any of their allies into this because it's a war that they've declared, an aggressive war that they've declared, that's been going on for too long. So this has really backfired on Camelot as Shambhala look to throw their weight around in India. Legofia at war. But Nicholsonia have attacked Basra. So Basra, Al-Wahad and Aydin. that classic triumvirate surrounding Nicholsonia, they're at war with again. They've brought Lagofia in. They've brought Hadir in. Hadir are doing quite well for themselves. There's a bit of gold down there. If we actually... There we go. A bit of gold in there. Again, Al Wahat knocked out first. Basra knocked out second. And Lagofia, they're just going to hope to... What a fleet. They're just going to hope to hold their own up there and then maybe dig a little bit into Aydin. Hold on. Hold on. Hispania have joined the defense of Luxembourg. Now this... I try to avoid it because it's become a bit of a meme. But I think at this point, I'm allowed to say, it's all kicking off, lads. Essentially, the entirety of France, the entirety of Spain, Morocco, you've got Curonia in there as well. And boy, have the tables turned. And Yharnam are the big winner in all of this. They're major enemies at war with each other. God, look at this. Hunzerite getting massively sieged down. Yharnam at war with nobody. Yharnam at war with nobody. So this is a war centered on Luxembourg. And I think the tolerant left are going to be thinking twice about, you know what, maybe we'll leave that war of Luxembourg for just now. Tributaries aren't in? No, they're not. Because they weren't in the coalition. It was simply a coalition to punish Luxembourg. And boy, is it backfired. Luxembourg allied with Steiermark, Curonia. And indeed, who knows why, but Hispania throwing their weight around. And we see Yharnam gearing up now. We see these truces. I suppose just under 3 more years. It's a bit early for them to be gearing up for war with the West. But they are allied with Hispania. I think Hispania have just... This could be fatal. Although Rhein-Neckar and... I think it's been well proven that Rhein-Neckar and Hunterreich are a decent fighting force. Their borders are right together. They tend to group up their troops together and just wield them as a wrecking ball. We've got the delegation who, with their colonies, they still field some very good armies. And Hispania, look at the swarm of Hispanian armies trying to make their way out of Spain. You know what would be quite good now, though? There's that cheeky wee. A cheeky wee war. Tolerant left Slavers Bay. Have a go. That was a fight over here, but that was not Yharnam. That is just Curonia. Getting a bit confused with, you know, where they are. Someone invent the compass. Give it to Curonia. The problem with Curonia taking all this beforested, bewintered land is that Rhein-Neckar, the delegation, pretty much everyone is going to waste their time trying to siege all this down now. To knock Curonia out of the war. Now, let's have a quick look at the Great Powers. Delegation's still massively up there. I was wondering if we'd see Tver or Curonia getting up there. Could be close. Masses of battles going on in here. Hispania had the numbers, but reinforcements pour in from the other war, the other battle in Berry. And the thing is as well, who decides what happens in this war? It's the Swiss. What do the Swiss want to do? They are the true kingmakers in this situation. What do the Swiss... Who do the Swiss want to benefit here? Who do they want to screw over? Right now, it's looking like Epiphany are going to be back on the map in a big way. Did someone come in to rescue Luxembourg? Someone did. Someone very big indeed. Oh god, I don't even want to look. Let's not look. Let's not look. Oh, we got to look now. Oh, it was a mistake. Got Luxembourg getting... Oh, no. Again, the Tolerant left Yarnum. They're the ones to really benefit out of this. Just by virtue of doing literally nothing. So I feel like the delegation have more colonial land, but Hispania have the better colonies. They'll have the larger armies. But they're not... It doesn't look like they're going to be able to lift the siege on Luxembourg. So ultimately, it's a war not strictly fought for nothing. Not a war fought for nothing. Because this will severely weaken Rhein-Neckar. It will weaken Hansa-Reich. Who are Hispania's rivals? The tributaries, Rhein-Neckar, Slavers Bay. So that's why they're fighting this war. It's can we screw over Rhein-Neckar? Yes, let's do it. Similarly, the war over here. Okay, Shambhala are still in it. The Black Occupation Garavdesh will be rebels, I'm betting. No, it is Switzerland. But essentially, what those occupations are is that if nobody really wants the land at all, then it gets given to the Swiss as the war leader. The Swiss can't take... In a punitive war, you can't take new land. As I'm sure I've said many times this session, so I apologise. But remember, Epiphany had all of this. And with Garavdesh being in the war, and potentially losing out, Epiphany could be right back at the utter zenith of their strength. So when are the truces up for the Tolerant left? I think truces are all already up. I expect them to be coming for Brittany, honestly. It's guaranteed by Luxembourg. I think the Tolerant left can take both Brittany and Luxembourg right now. And that's 23 development right beside them. They should go for that. I got really scared there for a second and thought somehow Athens were back in sieging down Constantinople. They can break up Hispania's alliances, yeah, but that doesn't really do too much, honestly. It would help Rhein-Neckar in the long run if they got split up from Yarnum, certainly. So this war ongoing from Nicosonia. They've knocked out Al-Wahat. Hadir have maybe grown a bit. Certainly Nicosonia have grown a bit. But this is just such a stalemate. They've taken over all of Basra, but they're not making barely any headway into Aydin right now. What's Aporia up to? Aporia is busy being protected by Rhein-Neckar and allied to Tver. What's kind of screwed over Aporia is the growth of Steiermark. Steiermark started... Look, this is Steiermark's capital. I think they maybe, like, literally had one province. And from there, they've developed their one province and used it to spread all the way down the Adriatic coast. And they essentially control all of this. And in here is a gold mine. In here is a bunch of good stuff. Mountain forts, the Ragusa centre of trade, which they will now be dominating. So Steiermark have done really well for themselves. Does anyone else have cores on Garavdesh? Could be interesting. We have 15 minutes left in this session to run. I almost want to kind of pause it like right now. Just so it's 1721. We have exactly 100 years left. What if Londo came back? Well, the cores are there. The cores are there. I think, worst case scenario, That would be a proper worst case scenario, wouldn't it? God, imagine if Londonistan got a point. And even Londo finished above the new Nero Empire. Rest in peace, wherever they were. Just like maybe one or two of the Native Americans. They formed a constitutional republic, to be fair to them. It's pretty impressive. Feudal monarchies. It's a matter of when Hispania want to kill them off rather than if, though. So we're going to keep focused on... Oh no, actually, let's have a quick look at India, because peace in someone's time and Cabinet managed to escape from war versus Shambhala and Punjabi prison with a profit. Albeit probably not very much profit, 19 development. But that's properly impressive. And Tally-ho back on the map. Yanlin, they've seen better days. But what this does as well is this gives Shambhala a long-ish truce with Caminot. It's going to be 6 years before they come back for Caminot again. And Australia Major, not looking great for them. Shambhala, it's surely just a matter of time before Shambhala shoot them down. No. They've got a diplomat in charge and they don't want for much. Fair enough. Back over here. Ooh, interesting. So remember, merchant republics, they have a hard limit of 20 stated provinces. And the tributaries have been over that all game. Pretty much all game. So what they've done is they've given all of these provinces back-to-back Narkia. And they're not great, these provinces, in all honesty. Well, maybe they are now that they've been developed a little bit. Yep, so they've forced them to become Catholic. They're good Catholic boys. And they'll probably be a lot more useful for the tributaries like this than their 2 odd provinces. There's a bit of a concentrated push going on. And indeed... Ooh. Rhine Neckar have been pushed right back. What are they doing? Are they all over in Curonia? Because they shouldn't be. Hansareich are still hanging out in Valois. Oh god, look at how well the Hansareich army did there. Before, like, the numbers all poured in. Maybe it's just taking this long for Hispania to really get their numbers back to their mainland. And even in a mountain fort. Is it a fort? Well, in any case, it's the mountains. Epiphany rushing in. But look at that, Hansareich were able to just hold out. And the reinforcements managed to fight off Gorovdesh. But we're seeing what was formerly the strength of Rhine Neckar and Hansareich kind of turned around on them. And now it's Gorovdesh and Hispania who are mounting all their troops in the same place. And now that they've taken the fort of Valois, you can see these little progress bars. They will all be unsieged now. So the tolerant left are landing in Brittany. Oh, big old naval battle. And this is a pure war fleet from the delegation demolishing the trade fleet of Hispania, that was. The Curonia need to be pieced out as soon as possible. Nicosonia have concluded their war. And they've taken a chunk of Basra. You can get some really good land around here. Farmlands. Very well developed. Yeah, the Tolerant left lost the Separatists because they're not very good. Oh, big old battle. We are just missing. Rhine Neckar desperately trying to get in to save the day. They've managed it. And Hispania sent packing from Cambrai. That was the capital they were trying to siege back there. So that was a vital battle. And the delegation running rampant at sea. Yeah, it's like, you know what? That 16k didn't really work out. Let's land, 60k. Let's just make sure the job gets done. Fair enough. So Hispania and King Raymond Revanche most assuredly losing this war. Yeah, it's like, lads, now you've got 60k on the mainland. You see, interestingly, they're trying to improve relations with Hispania and Canada, with Delegation Colombia, with leftist Mexico, to stop people trying to support their own colonies' independence and see if they can support other colonies' independence. Because, say Hispania kind of lose out from this war, then these colonies could start to split away from Hispania, and that would lose them a whole lot of their power. Because lest we forget, Hispania, with their 1,678 development, only 935 of that is their own development. So we have peace, we have a connected epiphany, we have Picardy a bit back on the map, we have some provinces back to the delegation, we don't have anything going back to the tributaries. Ah. It appears that... And yet more land goes back to the tolerant left. I think Switzerland... Truly, we feared Switzerland at the start. But truly, Switzerland represent what we, the viewer, want from this campaign. What we want from this campaign is the tolerant left and their 100,000 troops landed in Brittany to go hog wild. Hispania still allied with everyone they were allied with. They've declared war on Rio de Janeiro. Notably, Rio de Janeiro. Not in Rio de Janeiro. But understandable. Is that up to 140k now? Well, they had plans. Brittany, Picardy and Luxembourg. All at once. So they are going wild. Going for everyone all at once. And let's have a look at the devastation. Yep. Not fantastic. The armies aren't going to be faring too much better. So the tolerant left could obliterate this. They're going to win this war. And then it depends on exactly what they take. Yeah, Rhein-Neckar fought amazingly to be completely prosperous. Akaminu have done well. Chigoris have done really well for not having pretty much any forts anywhere. Do we want to look at the Americas' devastation? Just big pile of glowing red land all across the Great Plains, all across the Amazon, all across the Nile Valley with Al Wahat down there. If you're the tolerant left, what do you want? Well, actually they don't want much, which is a massive mistake. They should be taking Ko, because that's an estuary to the English Channel. They should be focusing on Ko, then they should beat up the delegation for Den Haag, Holland, and Antwerpen. What happened with Chigoris and Jabarland? We'll have a quick look at Jabarland. Oh no. What's the opposite of hallelujah? Distressing alarm sound effect. That's an actual distress alarm. We didn't want that. But that's how I'm feeling inside at seeing this. Is that even a good province? Is that Kilwa? Oh no, that's an actual good province. But in any... Tigoris didn't take Madang in the end. They might have taken... No. They didn't even take Australia. Didn't take anything around here. Who can say what actually happened over there? So I think on the 1st of January 1725, we're going to make a save and we're going to leave it there for this session. I think even though kind of the score leader has been running away with things, I think it's still really interesting. Just the various trials and tribulations of the Low Countries in particular. What's going on in India? What have Van done? The demilitarized zone of Van. Lagofia have attacked Van. Achaemenia are in on their side. Seen the rise of Aydin, kind of the fallback of Tver and Kuronia. India at war again. Oh. But this is a joint war between Gyan Lane and the Tally Ho. And indeed, at this point, the Tally Ho's army is going to be far better than the Gyan Lane one. But this is a war of reconquest, which means 3 cores for anyone involved. And that's not many cores. But that's more than the Tally Ho had when they started this session. So it could well happen. Meanwhile, Shambhala still guaranteeing the independence of Gyan Lane. Indeed, Gyan Lane probably have quite a lot of cores. Yeah, if they could take back that entire strip of India as well. So this is the perfect war for Gyan Lane and for the Tally Ho. It'll be interesting to see how much the Tally Ho get back out of this. I hope it's all their cores. I hope that Emperor Mahapata Bhatt sharing a dynasty with the Tally Ho. Because of course they do. I hope, cousin to cousin, brother to brother, that Gyan Lane and the Tally Ho restore their borders together. But unfortunately, unless the Punjabi prison capitulates within the next month, that will have to wait for next time. Because we have to pause to make a save, and I'm not continuing on for another year, going past 11 o'clock. I'm desperately trying to find new music I want to listen to. Let's just go with the same old music. So that is the 1st of January 1725. We're going to make a normal save. No, in fact, we're going to make this save first. And then we're going to make the actual save. And that is it. What a cliffhanger indeed. This is an actual drama show now. We find that the tolerant left well and truly have their foothold in France now. Oh, much to the dismay of everyone around them. But they've played a blinder here. Nobody's going to coalition against them. Garovdesh can't, because they're a subject. Epiphany could. All these guys could, but they're not gonna. They can't beat the tolerant left. It's good to see someone competent finally take this land in France. So we could be poised for one very, very late charge up the score tables as we see the tolerant left at the very top of the score gain charts, but they have a lot of ground to make up. But the Tolerant Left, first in admin, first in diplomacy, not quite first in military. Oof, but there we have it. Another 30 or so years down. So maybe we've got 3 sessions left. 3 weeks to go. And things are getting a bit more interesting. Are there any ongoing wars that we might have missed? Incidentally, please, again, we're going to do a quick recap of where everything is. Any questions you've got, shout them out now. There was one early on to check the last war that Slavers Bay were involved in, which I'll definitely have I'll have a look at. Oh no. There's some real disappointing wars going on. Chigoris looking to wipe out the Peyote Khanate, and they're probably going to manage it. There can only be one. Look at the amount of enemies for Chigoris as well. Look at all the Khans we have. Well, there's only the one Khan. There used to be a Khan in charge of the Celestial Entente. That's a Chai now. And there was a war down here with Jabariland trying to take on Minangkabau, my apologies. And that would be such an amazing war for them to win. Because, I mean, we'll ignore Kilwa for now. But this is the main centre of trade for bloody Camelot, for Jabariland. And they're making quite a lot of money for it. But how much more money could they make if they took the trade in Malacca, sent it to their own trade node, and took out all the trade from Canton, from Siam, from the Philippines, from Australia, from the Moluccas, all going in to Zanzibar. It's a really good war for them to pick. Navies. Who do we think has the biggest navy? Tribute says the Tolerant Left. Oh, good lord. Jesus. Jesus Christ Almighty. Good God Almighty. A forced limit of 301, and they are filling it out. The sheer number of trade ships they have. Jesus. Interestingly, Garavdesh all the way down here, Hispania down there. If a hypothetical war between the Tolerant Left and Slavers Bay against Hispania was to happen, they would have the naval advantage. Though interestingly, I note, no sailors for the Tolerant Left. There are so many ships that they can't reinforce them right now. If we jump into the Tolerant Left and we have a look at their navies, just a pure ship, a pure 75 strong navy of ships. But if we have a quick look around, no, they're all at full strength. But if we have a hover over the sailors, yep, currently you gain 203 each month, and you need 255 for all these protecting trade missions, for those hunting pirate missions. And that will be why they have such a huge share of, look, 171 from here. Because they've got so many ships protecting their trade there. Richest nation. 2 ways to define that, and we can have a look at both of them here. Who is making the most income? Nope, that's the wrong one. Unsurprisingly, it was Tolerant Left in Slavers Bay, which again is very impressive. Hispania have actually taken a bit of a tumble. Their trade is nowhere near the big traders. But then remember, in the year 1772, it might be 1772. Ooh. Let's have a quick look at that, actually. Let's jump into this. Now, plus 200 relations. That year keeps increasing, it does. because it's dependent on quite a few things. It's dependent on Hispania having the Diplo points. It's dependent on Hispania having the diplomatic reputation. So if Hispania got rid of this useless advisor and hired a statesman. Oh. Hispania actually have quite a few loans. Interesting. But if they were to do that, if they were to hire a statesman, we look back at this. Back down to 1763. What are their ideas? If they'd taken a good diplomatic branch rather than espionage, that would give them diplomatic reputation from there as well. So the tributeers are led by Giulio Delgi Ubaldini. He's a careful lad. Best ruler in the world. Nobody asked for, but I'm curious. It's always funny when it's one of our guys. Well, it'll be, unless the 666 in, what am I doing? Current rulers. There we go, a perfect 666 Mbaku. There's a Revanche who's a 664, but he's in charge of Valencia. Batnaki in there looking pretty swish. Shambhala doing well for themselves. Something I mentioned, I do want to check now, is Hispania's previous rulers, because I think they've had a long line of rubbish rulers. So let's just have a double check. Yeah. So they had Agnes Revanche, they had Henrique Revanche, and then since then they've only had one above average ruler. And they've had Raymond Revanche is obviously the worst of the lot. Of course, Hispania control the Curia. Oh! They might have been Defender of the Faith. Yeah, they were certainly Defender of the Faith, and that's maybe why they came in to defend Picardy or Luxembourg or whoever it was. But yeah, the Reformation all but wiped out. The conclusion to the Chagoris War, I think it was... nothing really changed. Nothing changed. Paragonea back on the mainland. How's that happened? Rebels. Let's be honest, rebels. Rebels come! Yep, Chagoris versus Jabaraland was non-conclusive. I don't think Garavdesh had to return any cores. Oh yeah, the very thing I said I'd check out. When was Slavis Bay's last war? Well, you can come into anyone and look at their history. And we'll get a big long list of stuff. You can see the short slaver conquest of Gao. They had some good wars early on. They expanded quickly. And I expect we'll see... it will be, oh yes, we embraced the true faith. We built mills. So let's count the rulers as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have to go back 12 rulers to Bongo. Probably Daddy. Bongo Daddy. And it was the triumphant slaver conquest of Sao Tome, which lasted for 3 years. What? Hold on. I think Calabar's in the... like, Indonesia. No, I'm getting that mixed up. Yeah, look at the province history going back to, you know... I mean, at no point... At no point have they even been occupied. I think just mistakes have been made slightly there. Is it... Maybe... I feel like it... Hold on. Why have we got two provinces with the same name? Right. It's fine, it was this one. It was this one, it's fine. Anything else you guys would like to look at right now? Because there's plenty of stuff we could look at. And the stuff I'm still interested in. But if people want to start making their way away, I don't want people to feel pressured into staying just to watch me babble on. Or to listen to me babble on, rather than... Army size is a good one. Because have a look at this. There's Hispania up there. But they're barely filling out half their force limit. They've got very little manpower. Slavers Bay. Slavers Bay. Oh, and what we didn't do actually earlier is that I said when Tribute asked about richest, we didn't look at who had the most money to saved up, and that's going to be Slavers Bay, because they probably have nothing left to build. Well, they'll probably still have stuff left to build, but it probably won't be worthwhile. They have no manufactories left to build. See that yellow? It means no more buildings in this province. Literally, they can't build another manufactory. Great powers, Hispania, tolerant left delegation. Delegation's still the third great power, despite only having 300 development. Nice to see Jabaraland up in there. It's been so long since I actually played a game of EU4 that's let me look at the ledger. So I'm like, ooh, let's all look at everything. Something I noticed earlier. First of all, look at the total losses. 2.53 million for the Tributeers because they just go around stacking up mercs, taking attrition. But if you sort this by who actually has fought the most battles, it's Rhein-Neckar by a long way, and they've taken relatively very little attrition. It's very impressive that they're actually fighting and dying, and not just sitting around and dying. Hansereich used to be up there. Kind of curious as to what everyone wants. It'd be nice to see Jabaraland expanding in, you know, better places. How did Hispania get it? I imagine it was finally the successful war that did it for them. We can see when it was. And it was... It was literally right at the start of the session. Or was it last session, actually? I think it was last session. Because you know how we do the big sweep and it's like, oh. And then there's something funny I've missed. But the problem with Hispania, and you probably saw that on the intro video as well, is that their country looks the most like the water. So we look at there, and we can barely see Kilwa. Nahuatl Zealots. I suppose it's the actual place you'd expect to find Nahuatl, as opposed to over here. But anyway, I am truly rambling on and on. Last check for anything anyone wants to see. This could be a good setup to like Victoria 2 and Hearts of Iron that you have like an actual religious divide. Obviously Sunni Britain. Oh, Anglican did spawn. It's just been very much Islamified. So, I'm going to pause this music now. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. It's been really enjoyable. I said we should have about 3 sessions left, because I figure we'll get to about 1755, maybe slightly shorter, maybe keep it at like 25 years, maybe go like 1750. Now let's keep it at 30 years. We'll get to 1785, and then we will just smash right through the last session. So 3 more weeks, I'm nearly guaranteeing it, because work might get in the way, but I'll nearly guarantee 3 weeks will be the end of this campaign. I've got some ideas for a season 3, some interesting ideas, some new ideas. And we'll probably do a season 3. I probably won't do it immediately, because it's the summer and I don't want to spend like my entire weekend in the summer just playing EU4. Well, I kind of do, but I owe it to myself not to do that. But in any case, 3 weeks, be there, be square, 9 o'clock next week, 9 o'clock the week after, and then who knows how long the last week has to go. I'll say thank you very much for watching this week, and I will see you next Sunday.